1. More clarity is needed on implementing the Joint Indian Armed Forces Doctrine. GS Paper 3, Defense. What is the context about? Surgical strikes, probably the most abused term of 2016, are now the new norm. The Joint Doctrine of the Indian Armed Forces 2017 has formally embedded surgical strikes as a part of sub-conventional operations, meaning that from now on, they are among a range of options at the military's disposal to respond to terrorist attacks. Did surgical strikes achieve any objectives? The more interesting aspect in the second such joint doctrine since 2006 is that the scope of surgical strikes has been left open. There is no mention of their employment being within the country or beyond its borders. The ambiguity is intended to send a message in the neighborhood. In this context, it is important to note that the surgical strikes in September 2016 on terror camps along the line of control did achieve some far-reaching strategic objectives. They were never meant to put an end to terrorism, but reversed a discourse which began in 1998, that India was out of conventional options in its quiver in the face of continued cross-border terrorism, after the Indian and Pakistani nuclear tests. What does the Joint Doctrine of the Indian Armed Forces 2017 say? The doctrine reiterates the basic tenets of the Indian Nuclear Doctrine: no first use, NFU, and minimum credible deterrence, contrary to recent calls to revise the NFU and speculation in the West that India would resort to a first strike. It adds that conflict will be determined or prevented through a process of credible deterrence, coercive diplomacy, and conclusively by punitive destruction, disruption and constraint in a nuclear environment across the spectrum of conflict. Flowing from the broader objective is the statement that special forces units will be tasked to develop area specialization in their intended operational theaters to achieve an optimum effect. What is the way ahead? The doctrine is a bold announcement, but without the necessary elements in place, it will remain just another document like the policy formulations enunciated earlier. Or worse, it will be relegated to being another political slogan for popular resonance rather than send out a message of intent beyond Indian borders and shores.